There's an old saying that perfectly describes Kokushibo's character. Jealousy is a disease. If it's not removed, it will ultimately lead them to that rock bottom, never able to recover. This tale began with the cause stemmed from his childhood. It's the adulthood that shows its effect. It's not asking for fans for forgiveness, but it shows, arguably, the most grounded and relatable scenario that we should all be aware before it's too late. By this point of the chapter, Kokushibo is filled with envious feelings towards his twin brother. He went from feeling pity to feeling hatred, spouting words that are just as painful as taking a stab. The image of a young pale-looking boy with hateful lines is striking. It's a sad yet realistic viewpoint of how someone is already in the path of darkness. The only time it would seem he found happiness was when Yoruichi was reported missing, disappeared without a trace. Whether he was kidnapped or killed, it didn't matter to Kokushibo, because his wish came true. That's so sad, for a boy to wish a younger brother to die for his selfish desire. No one should wish death upon the innocent. It's even sadder that despite his life was relieved from envy, he was bored. He got married and had a child, yet he appeared to be empty. The irony and the sad part is, his life only rises up when Yoruichi is present. In a moment where Kokushibo was attacked by a demon, his younger brother returned to save him in time, in a really cool page no less. This should have been a tearful reunion of a lost brother. Instead, great envy returned full force. To him, it's bad enough that Yoruichi mastered the sword. It's worse that he was alive. It's as if he's treating him like a vicious criminal. Yoruichi didn't help the matter when he apologized for arriving late, insinuating that he can't easily handle anyone. But time is an essence. In other words, time is fault, not his strength. It ruined Kokushibo devastatingly, perhaps to the point of no return. He abandoned his family and chose the path of Demon Slayer so he can one-up his brother. This really painted him as immature. Joining the corps is basically joining the army in today's world. Men join to protect their loved ones and fight for their home. Kokushibo joins simply to surpass his brother. That's just sad. The interesting part is the origin of the variation of breathing technique. Because Yoruichi's sun breathing is incredibly tough for his subordinates to handle, he decided to change his teachings to match their capabilities. Thus, multiple forms were derived from it, one after another. This explains why moments like Tokito's red blade occur, since it originated from sun breathing, alas Yoruichi. Also, due to change of balance, the Mark Ones began to increase in numbers, and Kokushibo finally attained his. Similar to Yoruichi's, the cruel irony doesn't end. They're twins, and obtaining a similar mark should also mean a similar power level. Sadly for him, he only attained a second tier known as the Moon. You would think they both would have the same mark, but instead he maintained second place, or in his mind, second fiddle. I thought the moon breathing meant to be the second path, like it's equal to sun breathing with his own style. This revelation is interesting, yet hurtful to realize how Kokushibo can never match. Not even having the same blood can help. It's a sad case of a character who forever remained in the underdog story with no destination in sight. A selfish man tried many times to grow, but the only part that grew is his despair. What sealed the deal for his future was when he learned about the Mark One's timely death. As a reminder, they will die in age of 25, and that meant Yoruichi technically doomed them all. It's not his fault, but it is sad that their era will die so young. Now I understand Kokushibo's feeling when he was stirred by Yoruichi mention from Himashima. The fact the brother can't live longer makes him sick. That moment was where he lost hope for his future. That's when Muzan stepped in. It's rather very simple for how Kokushibo became a demon. Muzan stepped in and told him that he can be immortal, defeating the curse of the mark. And so, He agreed to his offer. Very simple. But that's the sad part. Kokushibo wasn't rock bottom by that point, so he would take anything, including selling his soul. Although it is distasteful for him to stoop this low, it would at least grant him freedom he wished for. Even that didn't help, which then skips to the moment when Yoruichi died. To put it simple, Kokushibo's life is never satisfied, never pleased, and perhaps never freed. Seeing his brother's body standing before him is the worst taunt he can ever receive. I find it morbid that he cut him down into pieces when he's already dead. The symbol of hatred runs very deep. Yes, he does scream hate in his mind, but the sight with context is disheartening. Brotherhood gone horribly wrong. Or so I thought. The sensation goes 180 when the flute was presented after the body was cut down. The same flute Yoruichi was gifted by his older brother. The time when he had a warm smile. This hits the emotional point greatly. It goes further when Kokushibo shed tears. He has fallen too far to ever recover. Everything was solely on Yoruichi. The face only he can remember, yet desire to forget. I find this to be very poetic. It's the face he hated, yet is similar to his, hence being a twin. Yoruichi represented as himself if his dream was fulfilled. You can also see it as symbolic, as if he's speaking to himself for being a disgrace. You can only be jealous when someone has what you think you can have. The first half of the chapter have Kokushibo filled with hatred. The latter half, however, has him filled with despair. It's remarkable. I felt pity and somewhat frustrated at his behavior to discard everything for his selfish desire. Thinking it thoroughly, I realized how realistic this emotion can take a man to the downward spiral. It's relatable in a sense that we too can fall if we don't let go and appreciate what we have. His childhood destroyed him, but his adulthood had a chance to revive with a family. It wasn't enough. Only live to hate his brother. It's kind of hard to read Kokushibo's words slowly converting to depressing tone. With questions towards his life, he can't remember anyone's face but his brother's. Again, the irony fate of the twins is at this moment, he is filled with total sadness, admitting the damages he caused. He abandoned his family, ended his descendants, and abandoned being a samurai. He's living in a shell of his former self. One last interesting tidbit is his and Muzan's desire to kill all swordsmen who knew sun breathing and its forms. I believe that's why Tanjiro's family was killed off specifically. It does confirm the dance of the fire god is related to sun breathing. That or they're referring to any slayer with techniques. Both make sense for Tanjiro since the heritage has Slayer's bloodline. One way or another, anyone can be a threat if one can evolve to the same level as Yoruichi. The chapter closes on a depressing note, with Kokushibo questioning why his life was even born. I read it like he was begging for answers. It's painful to hear or read, in this case, someone ask that kind of question. Clearly, he had nothing. To end on a heartbreak, Kokushibo dusted away, leaving a sole object behind, one that defined the Brotherhood. That was powerful. I got a feeling the anime is going to deliver big time when the time comes. This was a pretty grounded, sad chapter. It may not be as sad as Akaza, but it's realistic and relatable. It's not asking the fans to forgive Kokushibo, but understand how a man can hit rock bottom from envy. Not only it taught an important lesson, but uncovered the origin of all breathing techniques. The first half was frustrating, but the latter was depressing. Ultimately, a very solid storytelling. The narration grows stronger over the course. Wouldn't surprise me if you drew any sympathy towards him. The last panel indicates his end, unless he does get an answer. If not, it's a shame. But as the old saying goes, life is not fair. And that will do it for the review. I hope you enjoyed this one. Now that the backstory seems to be over, it's time for the worst part of them all, a confirmation on fatality. I'm not looking forward to it. What do you think of Kokushibo's character overall? Share your thoughts in the comment section. If you like this and want more of this, subscribe to my channel, and my world will be yours to stay. Until next time, take care.